All right, and now we are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this new webinar. We have here Francois Guelo, the CEO and co-founder at Enso Connect, that will help us go through the main topic of the day, new ways to unlock revenue in 2025 for vacation rental owners and managers. And I also have Marisa Rivera, the Director of Partnerships here at Lodgify, to help me introduce Lodgify in a little bit. My name is Francesco Loconte. I am the customer support specialist here at Lodgify. And yes, I'm excited to go through this topic today. I will have both Francois and Marisa introduce themselves in a bit. I just wanted to run a quick housekeeping before we start. So we cannot hear you, but we can see the chat. So for any questions that you have, feel free to drop them there in the right side of the webinar, and we will try to respond as many as possible. If we cannot, because of time constraint, of course, we will respond them in the email that we will send out tomorrow, together with the recording of this webinar. So if you cannot hear us, it's probably because the speaker is muted. So check that, and also to turn up the audio. And yes, the webinar will be sent out tomorrow, as I was mentioning, and will be available as well on the YouTube channel, so that you will see it there always for reference. So yes, just quickly the webinar structure. And yes, in a moment I will have Francois introduce himself, and then Marisa will take over to quickly introduce Lodgify for everyone that is not a customer of Lodgify. Then Francois will go and take the main part of the webinar for this topic of today, new ways to increase revenue in 2025. Also talking about some success stories, the best strategies and tips that we have prepared for you. And finally, we will finish with the Q&A session. So yes, Francois, here we are. Thank you so much for joining this webinar.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, and super excited. We've been a partner now with Lodgify for quite some time. And as I was introduced, my name is Francois. I'm the co-founder of Enso Connect. So I'll be talking a bit more about these different strategies for increasing revenue in 2025, talking more about upsells, and yeah, super excited for this.
Amazing. So yes, Marisa, if you wanna take this part to introduce Lodgify, and feel free to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Francesco mentioned, I'm Marissa. I'm the Director of Partnerships at Lodgify. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. And no worries if you weren't able to make it. We'll catch you later in the recording. And again, special thank you to Francois and the Enso Connect team, everyone that worked behind the scenes to make today happen. As he mentioned, we've been partnered for quite a while. And if you're not familiar with Enso Connect yet, they put out some great content about tips and tricks in the industry. Their videos usually feature Francois, so we're really excited to have him here with us today as well. Thank you. And Lodgify, if you're not familiar with Lodgify, we are an all-in-one vacation rental platform. Our mission is to empower independent hosts and property managers to grow and optimize their business. We have a channel manager where you can connect your OTAs, but we also have a website builder where you can create your own direct booking website, so you can really diversify your distribution channels. And if you're interested in speaking to sales or doing a demo, you can scan that QR code. And as I mentioned, I am the Director of Partnerships. So my team at Lodgify is dedicated to finding partner softwares in the industry that help all of our customers really automate and optimize their businesses. you can go over to the marketplace page in Lodgify. This is where you can shop and connect your favorite apps and grow your tech stack. You'll find Enso on there. You can read more about them, and you'll also find some other solutions for turnover cleaning, dynamic pricing, any ancillary service you can think of. It'll be on there. And if we don't have what you're looking for, there's a button where you can submit an idea, and it will go directly to my team, and we'll find a solution for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marisa.
Awesome.
And now, yes, I will stop sharing my screen so that Francois can take over.
Awesome. Let me try and do this.
All right. Now you should be able to.
There we go. It should be popping up. Hopefully, I'm sharing the right screen. If not, let me know.
Yes.
There we go. Just gonna hide message here. Well, thank you everyone for joining this webinar. Really appreciate it. As Marisa pointed out, we do have a lot of video content. I do get asked weekly to do these different little demo bites and different video content. We're actually going to start sharing more user content very soon, which I'm excited about. One, because it takes a bit of time off my schedule on these videos, but two, because it's better to just see from other property managers how they're growing their revenue and how they're optimizing different strategies for driving more bookings and saving time. So I'm going to do a quick introduction on what Enso Connect is. I'm not here too much to demo or tell you how it all works. Really, I want to talk about some basics around revenue generation, specifically around upsells. This is one of the hot topics for 2025. But just to kind of set the tone, Enso Connect, we are a guest experience platform that's plugged in and two-way sync with Lodgify. And our mission is simple: to digitize and monetize the guest experience, guest management, and guest communication. And the way we do this is we understand today, well, we'll kind of set the tone for why we exist, that managing a vacation rental business is quite difficult. There's a lot of competition in the market. There's some side of limited occupancy upside. Really, there's only 30 days in the month that you can rent out your property. If you're managing properties on behalf of owners, there's quite some narrow margins there. You're not taking the entire rent of that property. Of course, if you're an owner, then that doesn't necessarily apply to you. There's a high cost of just doing business, whether it's the different tools you need, the staffing you need, and so on. Evolving guest experiences or guest expectations. I think we're seeing more and more that guests expect hotel-like experiences in their vacation rentals, or at least hotel-like services and response times. And then just the nature of complex operations. I like to say when you're managing multiple vacation rentals, whether it's 2, 5, 10, or 100, it really feels like managing 2, 5, 10, or 100 hotels. So all of this to say, it is difficult to scale a vacation rental business. So we want to start looking at other ways of improving what you already have. And so with over 145,000 hospitality operators that are looking to scale globally, that means how do we improve your margins? How do we make you more efficient in managing your vacation rental business? And of course, how do we improve your revenues? At the end of the day, we're in the business of making money. And so it's easier for me to kind of sell you money than it is for me to sell you time. And that's what I'm going to do today, is just show you ways of increasing margins, efficiency, and revenue. Or as Mark Bisak says, the question is, how do I continue to grow without necessarily creating more work for myself? This is something I always talk about, it, whether it's at various industry events, conferences, or even with property managers directly. Scaling that vacation rental business isn't just about growing the number of units. It's also about making it more efficient, growing those margins, and growing that revenue. So without further ado, let's talk about solving these scaling challenges. My focus in this industry has been on 3 core value propositions. 1, how do I increase the revenue per guest? 2, how do I save you time in your day-to-day operations? And 3, how do I give you more 5-star bookings? So for each of these categories, and we're not necessarily going to go through every detail here. If you guys want to learn more about Enso Connect and how we focus on these 3 verticals, we've done a lot of work to improve and continuously improve our integrations with Lodgify. So I'm excited about that. Well, I'm really going to focus on the first bucket, but to give you a bit of an understanding of why we're talking about this, on average, when I talk about increasing revenue per guest, guests spend money for their accommodation with you, and they spend everything else on their trip with everyone else. So how can we tap into the revenue that is there, the money that they are spending that you could be collecting? When I talk about creating time-saving efficiencies is when I see operators send long paragraphs with check-in instructions, and then the first question they get from a guest is, hey, how do I check in? And it's right there. It's in the message, but no one is reading it. Or, in that message, it tucks away the Wi-Fi instructions. And same thing. What is the Wi-Fi password? It's in there. No one's reading it. So how do we make your operations more efficient? And then last but not least is increasing those 5-star bookings. And when I look at average data, 60% of guests that inquire don't necessarily book. What does that represent? If you had every single one of those guests book, what kind of new revenue would you be looking at from the rental side of things? Obviously, that metric completely varies based on the number of listings, the locations, and so on. So stay tuned to learn more about these 3 verticals, and we're going to focus enormously on the first one. So if you guys like this webinar format with Lodgify, then we can always dive into the second and third bucket on another episode. So let's look at new ways to grow without necessarily adding more work. Now, I know this sounds like a dream or a dream come true, but there are ways to increase revenue. And we're going to start off with what I like to call operational upsells. Now, there's operational and there's experiential. We're going to dive into the experiential side of things in a bit. We're going to really focus on the operational side. And I get the same 3 or 4 objections every single time. So if right away you see this slide and you're like, it's not going to work for me, we're going to go in detail on why it's not going to work for you and why it actually will work for you, because I've heard the same arguments over and over and over again. So operational upsells, it touches at your operations. It's things like early check-in, late checkout, mid-stay cleaning, pool heating, even gap nights. So pre or post-stay extensions. We're going to give you a few examples of that. At Enso Connect, we do this with what we call a boarding pass. Think of it like a boarding pass for your flight, but instead for your vacation rental. Now, the main thing about operational upsells that I always hear is the first one is going to be things like, well, I don't know if I can offer an early check-in or a late checkout until the day of because of my cleaning staff. I don't know when they're going to be done. I don't know if I have the time to offer this. And that is totally, totally normal. You are in the same bucket as every other property manager or vacation rental host. The main thing is about providing that option for guests ahead of time, but only approving whether or not it's available when you can approve it. What do I mean by that? A guest might request an early check-in months in advance. And the default response that we see from clients, from property managers, is we don't know until the day of. We'll have to let you know on check-in. And now what's happening is you're letting the reminder for that potential revenue happen on the guest side. Chances are you're not going to remember on the day of to follow up as to whether or not you can offer the early check-in or late checkout until the guest reaches out again that same day to say, hey, can I check in early? So what does that create? Well, from an operational perspective, it's creating a lot of inefficiencies. You're going back and forth to check your calendars, to go in and see if it's available. You're answering the guests the first time saying you're going to have to let them know. You're answering them the second time to see if it's available. It's a lot of headaches for your team. So the first thing that I always say is there an opportunity for you to collect the intent, the request, the payment information, but only to approve it once you have more clarity on your schedules? This is the case for early check-ins, late checkouts. And this approach of allowing guests to request it ahead of time, but only approving it later in their sort of guest journey increases your conversion rates of early check-ins and late checkouts to roughly 30 to 32%. Now imagine what an additional $50 for an early check-in or late checkout, of course, again, depends on the locations and so on that you're in, but imagine what that represents on your business. If you're renting out a property for $200 a night and you're taking 20%, what is $50 extra in that month for that guest that you keep 100% of? So again, being able to understand what that impact has on your gross margins is a big one. Some of the best practices that we see, communication. When and how are you able to deliver these different types of upsells? We talked about gap nights, pre and post stay gap nights. Offering a post-night extension. So let's say you're booked from Monday to Wednesday, and then you have another booking from Friday to Monday. That Thursday is empty. Now, you might have a one-night stay, and that's totally fine. Or let's say maybe the Friday is empty and you have a two-night opportunity. Well, maybe you don't know until kind of closer to the guest's stay. And that's why being able to communicate closer to checkout of the first guest, closer to check-in of the second guest, to be able to upsell that available night will help you maximize those revenues. Operation-wise, a 2-hour early check-in is something that is completely available. You can offer a 3-hour one, a 1 hour, a 30 minutes. And in fact, what I would recommend is to provide your check-in instructions 15 minutes before check-in time. Now, I know I get the same question every time. Well, I can't offer my check-in instructions at 3:45 when they're checking at 4. They're sending me messages at 10 a.m. saying, how are they going to check in? And that is completely normal. The difference between a hotel and a vacation rental is in hotels, we have confidence that we're going to be able to check in, whether it's 2 in the morning, 11 p.m. or 3 p.m. It doesn't really matter. We know we can just show up and check in. In vacation rentals, there's a bit of that anxiety. So pre-stay communication, providing them, for example, with an arrival guidebook, showing them how they can arrive to the property, but letting them know that they will get access to the actual unit around 3:45, 4 p.m. is how you're going to maximize the opportunity of an early check-in, whether it's a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Because again, if you're providing check-in instructions 24 hours before their stay, there is no incentive to purchase an early check-in. I already know what the instructions are. So just a little tidbit there on how to operationally increase that conversion rate, if you will, of upsells. The next question I always get is accounting. Well, this touches at my nightly rate, and then I got to do trust accounting, or I need to, report this within my accounting systems. Keep in mind that these are going to be services that you offer and can be treated as a separate line item, a separate revenue item. Now, this is, of course, debatable. Some people want to be able to share the early check-in, late checkout types with their owners. That's totally fine. We can talk more about that, but you can treat this as a separate service, a concierge-like service, if you will, for your guests. Same goes with regards to pool heating. This is a huge opportunity in places like Florida. I've seen a lot of revenue being generated in Orlando. For some reason, pools don't come heated. And the some reason is because of the cost of heating a pool all year long. So being able to upsell guests is something they are more than willing to pay for a heated pool versus a cold pool. And then last but not least is pricing strategies. So my favorite one is popcorn pricing. Funny enough, I just went to the movie theater I think it was a week ago, and I went to see Captain America, and they did this exactly on me, which was popcorn pricing. The small is $5, the medium is $6, and the large is $10. You can ask your friends, your wife, your girlfriend, your husbands, whatever, which one they would pick, and they would most likely pick the medium popcorn because it feels like the one that's best value. $5 for an extra dollar, you get the medium. $10, do you really need the large popcorn? Again, we're talking about selling corn here. So you could probably get this for 30 cents instead of 5 or 6 or 10. So doing the same approach with early check-ins, late checkouts, kind of the same thing. If I offer you a free 30-minute early check-in, a 2-hour for $20 and a 3-hour for $150, which one are you going to choose? In this case, probably a bad example because you would choose the free one, but you get my point. You can play around with your rates. It doesn't have to be a fixed thing to kind of maximize which early check-in would you prefer that the guest chooses, right? If you know your cleaning team's going to finish 2 hours before, you kind of want to make sure they always choose the 1 hour early check-in, not the 2 hour early check-in, so that you give that optionality and that buffer zone for your operations team. So few tidbits here on how to do these operational upsells. If you guys have any questions about how this works, again, if you have any objections about what I've mentioned, which is usually the same for, so I can't accept early check-ins, late checkouts until day of, not a problem. I can't do it because of accounting, not a problem. How do I message my customers or make sure I'm proactive about it? Also not a problem. And how do I price this? And absolutely. I see a quick question. Can I go over popcorn again? I'll give you the example. It's my favorite example. So small popcorn is $5, medium popcorn is $6, and large popcorn is $10. The psychological incentive for people is to get the best value for their money. They're willing to spend that money, so they choose medium. Small is $5, but for an extra dollar, I get more popcorn versus for an extra $5, I get a lot more popcorn. Well, it's kind of the same approach. So let's do an example that's more concrete for early check-ins. We'll do 1, 2, and 3 hour early check-ins, and we'll do some things along the lines of $20, $25 or $30, and then $50 or $60. The incentive, if you're going to show up early, is to probably pay for that 2-hour early check-in because it feels like the best value item here. And we can play around with that. So if I pronounce your name appropriately, Tiana, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you based on your ADRs and so on. I recommend usually about 20 to 30, even sometimes 50% of your ADRs, your average daily rates, usually hovering around 20% of the ADR is reasonable. But for those of you who want to see some crazy examples, I have seen as north of 80% of an $800 nightly rental price early check-in. Sounds ridiculous. We're talking $650, $700 for an early check-in. Why? This was in Aspen, Colorado. So obviously we're talking about, very fancy places. People have money, but let's give the reason why someone is willing to pay for a couple extra hours the same price as a night. Well, if you're skiing in Aspen and you get to show up to the property at 11 or noon, you get the entire afternoon to ski. Versus if you have to show up at 4, the day's kind of over. So people are willing to spend money based on these kinds of travel behaviors, which are things that we're able to uncover through the boarding pass. So we'll give you a few examples there. Another example, if you're in Helsinki, if you're in Iceland, in Reykjavik, most international flights, specifically from North America, land in the morning. And so they land around 8, 9, 10 a.m. First thing people want, luggage storage or early check-ins and late early check-ins, because they just want to, leave their stuff somewhere. They just did an overnight flight. They're tired. They want to shower, etc. So a few examples about operational upsells. And again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm French, so I'm going to take this example of a French company. French people are usually a bit more reluctant on adopting these kinds of, new technologies and so on. We have right here, I think it was Kitoko, if I'm not mistaken, about 70 listings. Jordan, fantastic property manager. And, he kind of rejected originally the upsells because it didn't feel like something that would work. Now he's earning about €1,000 in add-ons a month on just these operational upsells. So we're going to give you a few other examples. I have some crazy ones coming out very soon on damage waivers, operational, experiential upsells, and so on. The next one, experiential upsells. We're talking local experiences, local attractions, but really anything that's going to elevate the experience that guests want. Personalizing experiential upsells is what's going to help you maximize revenue. And just to be very clear, you will see more conversion, so more guests purchasing operational upsells than experiential upsells, because it is kind of hard to know why guests are staying in your property. But again, we try to help you by understanding with this boarding pass why guests are here. I know I'm shifting from one slide to the next. Apologies in advance. Some best practices: communication, understanding why a guest is traveling with you. So most clients, most property managers, they don't really know why travelers are traveling to their properties. They have a hunch. You've kind of seen some, behaviors or patterns. Oh, I'm in Phoenix, so I see a lot of bachelorette parties, or I'm in Florida, so I see a lot of snowbirds, or I'm in Cannes, so I see the, people coming for the festival, et cetera, but you don't necessarily really know why a guest is coming to your property. So understanding that is really key to personalizing the types of experiences that you're going to offer. The next one is operations. This is, you are busy enough managing those properties. So going out and starting a whole new concierge business doesn't sound very exciting for a lot of people, and I totally get that. So how can you automate all of these? Is there a referral program or an affiliate system that you can start building? We're going to talk about a few examples of the types of experiential upsells, but you can do this really simply with restaurants and guidebooks. And we have a client who did this. I thought it was a brilliant idea. They basically went to the top brunch spots around their properties and said, we are going to put your brunch place in our guidebooks for $500 a month. We have 40,000 travelers that come through our doors every year. And we're going to recommend your brunch place specifically, but this is advertisement. Like, do you want it to be your brunch place, or is it going to be the one next door? And restaurants are willing to pay for that. Now, tracking the results and so on is a whole different story, but this is an example of the types of experiences you can offer. It doesn't just have to be, bungee jumping and parachuting. It can also just be recommendations to local places that can drive these new revenue streams for you. And again, from an accounting perspective, not trust accounting. This is a separate revenue line item. This is a service that you're offering. And then reviews and trust. Guests trust you as the local partner. You're the one who knows the best restaurant. You're the one who knows the best experiences, what people like to do. I took a vacation for the first time in a long time for the Christmas break, and I stayed in Colombia, and my host was providing all of these additional services, shared a car rental company, shared the map to get from one place to the next. It just felt like such a personalized experience. In the background, this host was actually making money with affiliate programs with these different services. But it doesn't matter. I trusted him because he had offered the same services and they had worked for guests. So again, reviews and trust are a big one on this. Now, I am very proud to announce that we have launched Enso Experiences as part of our boarding pass solution. This is over 300,000 upsells built out directly in the boarding pass. I have an example here with Italy. So Francesco, I think you'll like these ones. From Rome, Colosseum, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill guided tour. If you've just watched the new, what was the movie that just came out? Colosseum. I forgot already. Then this might be of interest for you. But yeah, there's plenty of examples, and you'd be surprised by the destinations that we have in here. Gladiator 2. That's the one I was thinking about. Really cool movie if you guys are watching. So if you want to check out these kinds of experiences, feel free to let us know which locations you guys are based out of. We really have a variety of locations. Even some places in very remote areas are offering different tours and experiences. The next one that we're going to be offering very soon is going to be Enso Transport, and that is airport transfers, a very requested upsell specifically for business travelers. They just want everything kind of turnkey. Airport transfer, early check-in, just get me to the door, shower so I can go to my next meetings. Again, things that you can offer to your guests without a headache. And the way this works, you do not need to go out and book the Colosseum tour for your guests. You don't need to coordinate with the Colosseum for it. You just get the reservation. You get a percentage of whatever's booked. And if there's any issues with the Colosseum, then they deal with it with the tour activity system. So if you guys see, we're based out of Temple, Texas. Just for the sake of fun here, I'm going to give a quick example of what we have in Temple, Texas. I hope we have something, because or else what I just said doesn't make sense. There are, of course, remote locations that we might not have anything. So Temple, Texas, we have, let's see, a private transfer, airport transfer. I don't know if you have something. We have a hidden temple theme escape room, although that's marked as San Antonio. I might have to get back to you. That might be a bit further off. I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Temple, Texas. I'm doing this live, guys. So this might be. So you're closest to Austin. So we might have a few more things in Austin than Temple specifically. And that is a double-decker Austin single loop sightseeing tour, a food tour, a San Antonio small group tour from Austin with riverboat, a Hill Country barbecue wine shuttle. Again, so many different examples. I see New South Wales. I'm not going to do every single example, or else Marissa is going to kill me on the schedule here, and she's going to tell me, Francois, you did a 2.5-hour webinar, but I will give one more example. New South Wales. Let's see what we have here. New South Wales. This is to get you guys kind of thinking about what you can offer. Blue Mountains Day Trip. I don't know if my location thing is working fairly well. Blue Mountains Three Sisters Scenic World and Wildlife Park. Blue Mountains Tour Scenic World Lunch River Cruise, Bridge Climb Sydney. So we have some things, of course, in Sydney, Sydney Harbor Sunset Dinner Cruise, and so on. So a few examples here. Okay, one last one, just because I'm excited. Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. Let's do it. And then I'll stop, I promise, because I have a few more things to talk about. Gatlinburg. Let's look up Gatlinburg. So we've got Classic National Park Tour, Mountaintop Zipline, 2 hours activity, top-rated Wine and Shine walking tour, Gatlinburg Ghosts of the Smokies Most Haunted Tour, you name it. So there's a lot of opportunities here. It's really up to you what you want to offer, and of course, a balance between these operational and experiential upsells. This is free money. An example, Good Night Stay out of Phoenix. They made $250,000 in upsell revenue in 6 months. Now, they have 400+ listings, but basically, they started making money in 6 days, and they paid the entire subscription off in 18 days. So that was a really cool example to see. I love seeing these kinds of ROIs. My goal, I've shifted from, selling time to property managers to selling money and saying, if you spend $1 with me, I'm going to guarantee you that you'll make your dollar back, because on average, we make $4 to $8 extra in revenue for our customers. Now, let's talk about another revenue stream. This is a new one, and this is damage waivers. Damage waivers is probably my favorite one. It is the easiest one to set up. It is also one that I get a lot of objections for, but always the same objections. And once you kind of get eased into this, you realize, oh, wait, there's a lot of money to be made in here. So let me go back first on how damage waivers work before I go for best practices. Damage waivers is a one-time fee that you're going to ask the guest to pay for that's going to cover their stay for any sort of small damages. Now, if you're doing safety deposits today, we can help you automate those safety deposits. Usually we'll see kind of how that works. You're going to do a $250 safety deposit. We're going to tell you, offer the guest a $50 damage waiver or a $250 safety deposit. 60% of guests will choose the damage waiver option. What is the difference? The safety deposit covers you up to the safety deposit amount, so $250. You break a TV, I'm going to take money out of that safety deposit. The $50 damage waiver also covers you up to the safety deposit amount, but it's a one-time fee that is non-refundable. So you give me $50, and if you break that $150 TV, I'm not coming after you. Now, many of you might be thinking, well, but Francois, if they paid $50, they can break so many things in the property. Well, they're legally only allowed to break up to $250 worth of things. And obviously, we're not trying to get them to break anything, but this is an arbitrage. So most of your guests should hopefully not be bad actors. If you have a lot of bad actors in your property, you may want to start considering guest verification, which is something we offer, so collecting IDs and so on. But not to get into those details, we're talking about collecting a one-time fee that is non-refundable. So if you do the math and you look at an arbitrage, 60% of guests are collecting that damage waiver, so $50 extra on a reservation, $50 extra on a reservation, and you do this more than 5 times, you have just created a little bank account with $250 in there. So next time a guest causes damage, you can pull out of that bank account and use that money towards fixing something. And if you scale that across multiple weeks, multiple months, and multiple properties, you can look at a very big revenue stream, a pool of cash that you can use towards fixing up anything that needs to get fixed up. So damage waivers are an awesome way to collect revenue. And you can do this for any type of reservation. Now, I see here I have a question about, I see how this works when I sell my own website. Totally makes sense. Most people on direct booking websites, especially the awesome direct booking websites you have with Lodgify, you want to add that layer of security. For OTAs, of course, it can feel a bit more limited. Now, you are allowed to offer a safety deposit in these OTA reservations. You just need to make sure that in your listing description, you say that you have this option. In the case of Airbnb specifically, where it can be a bit more problematic because guests feel like they need to do all payments on Airbnb, giving them the choice between a damage waiver or a safety deposit is your best bet. You're letting the guest choose. So you remove that friction of, oh, there's an additional payment off platform. It's like, nope, you can go the safety deposit route if you prefer. That's totally fine. But again, you want to make sure that you're clear that you have that on the listing description. And again, if you remember what I said at the beginning, vacation rentals are just fragmented hotels. Every hotel asks you for a credit card for incidentals. So it is totally normal that you do the same for your properties or for your owner's properties, but just be clear on that description. Best practices, because I am looking at time and might be going over time here, so I'll try to stay within the bounds of what I have. Communication, mention it in the listing description, highlight the benefits. Being able to personalize the damage waiver is another great example. So being able to know if you're targeting a family stay, then being able to explain that the damage waiver protects them from their kids, drawing on walls, versus if you're accepting a lot of bachelorette parties to say, it's going to protect them from having broken, shattered glass somewhere or shattered TV. That's something that we can help you tailor that'll help the conversion rate of these damage waivers. Operationally speaking, this is kind of part of that verification process that we help you automate. Accounting wise, now this is not trust accounting. This is a separate line item. It is a revenue stream that we're keeping on the side for incidentals. And then be open with your owners. This is not something, a revenue stream that you're sneaking in and adding a fee that you get to keep. Be open with your owners about the damage risks and show them that you have this process in place to kind of mitigate these risks and help fix up anything in the property. Now you can put that as part of your owner contracts to say, look, if we have small damages, we're going to help fix up whatever we can with this pool of cash that we have. Or you can just be clear with the owners that this is to protect your business and the assets. A great example we've got, and I just posted about this, as a property manager in Norway. For context, we're in over 55,000 properties in 60 plus countries. So I've got examples from all over. If you think that this is not going to work in your location, just let me know and I'll find you a counter example. They 8% revenue boost in 28 days from this damage waiver. And, you know, we had a good joke with the founder here because he wasn't sure this was going to work. So we introduced a program at Enso Connect called the ROI Guarantee, where we put our money where our mouth is. If you don't make your subscription with Enso Connect within 12 months, you can keep using the platform for free. Now, obviously, I have a lot of investors that are like, are you sure you want to do this, Francois? Because if suddenly we're not making money, then I have a free tool and, you know, my ROI to these investors isn't going to pan out. But it's just the data's there. We've seen it time and time again across multiple property managers in different locations. So that's why we're willing to back it up with our revenue on the line. So that's about it for Enso Connect and new revenue streams. We do have a limited time offer with 30% off the annual subscription on Enso Connect with Lodgify, specific to Lodgify, and this ends March 31st. And of course, you know, before just jumping into Enso Connect, do your due diligence. If you guys want to speak to other operators that are making money, I'm always happy to make introductions. And if you want to learn more about these different revenue streams or have questions on how this might operate for your business, I do have, as Marissa had mentioned, all these videos that I pump out every week. I think I was supposed to record one yesterday, so Sasha on my team's going to kill me because I didn't record it. Sorry, Sasha. I will do that soon. But we have all of these awesome upsell videos, you know, how-tos and best practices, and we're going to have some users share some more examples as well. So that's about it for me. I'll let you take over, Francesco.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Francois. There was a lot that we covered. You covered, and and it was. I'm sure it will be really helpful for everybody that is watching this live and will watch the recording. So really appreciate what you prepared here. Let me present again to go further. All right, you should be able to see again. So yes, basically, now if you're interested on how to connect Lodgify and Enso Connect, especially with this promotion that we have until March 31st, which is also great, we can do so in Lodgify. It's really simple. You just need to basically retrieve the Lodgify API key that you see when you go in the main menu Marketplace, where you have all the apps, and then you click on Enso Connect, and in there it will be shown this Lodgify API key. So it's a very unique code that you will need to enter in the welcome email that you receive from Enso Connect after scheduling a demo. So first of all, you sign up for a demo and the call with Enso Connect, and then they when they send you this email to welcome you, you can put the Lodgify API key in the link that you will receive there to start. And yes, then it will be connected already with the information that come from Lodgify about your rentals and reservations. And so yes, you can start basically with the onboarding call as well from Enso Connect.
I love it.
And now we have a prepared. I think you have prepared actually a couple of questions to ask before also jumping into the questions that we have in the chat. We have here, what does passive revenue mean in vacation rentals, and how can it be achieved? What is Enso Experiences, Francois? Well, we already mentioned this.
We mentioned it. We mentioned the Enso Experiences, but really passive income, right? Passive revenue is the idea that you have your main business, you have your vacation rental business. That's what you're focused on, and it's just doing more with what you have. So creating these streams, these operational systems that just kind of automate these new revenue streams. early check-ins, late checkout, mid-stay cleaning. It's very difficult for you and your team to remember when you have a gap night. But if a system can automatically push that to your guests and let them know, and take care of the payment and remind them, we have a functionality. I'll give you an example. When you get a request for an early check-in, we automatically send a message to say, hey, we've received your request. We'll let you know. And then when you click the approve button, you don't need to type in and send a message to the guest to say, hey, I approved your early check-in. You click approve, automatically sends a message to say that it's been approved, and it'll change the check-in time in both Lodgify and Enso so that you know what's going on. So this is what I mean by passive revenue, is just making it seamless, making it easy, and adding on top of all the awesome things you guys are doing with your vacation rentals.
Perfect. Thank you for answering. And then we have, does a damage waiver replace vacation rental insurance?
Yeah, this is the classic question. I like this one. So there's insurance, there's assurance, there's guarantee, there's different forms of talking about insurance. Now, you can go out and get a proper insurance for your properties, and I would recommend always doing that, of course. You've got air cover that should cover you for a certain amount. Really, what a damage waiver is almost kind of a self-insurance process. Now, we're not going to call this insurance because we legally cannot do that, but it's really just an arbitrage where, if you think about it, what does an insurance company do? They ask you to pay money over and over and over again. And if there's a problem, at their own decision, they'll decide whether or not they pay you back. So you spend, $1,000 for insurance, and then you have some sort of issue, and then you have to contact someone else and say, hey, I had this problem. Can you help me and cover me based on my insurance? And they look at it and they go, no. Now you just paid $1,000 for nothing. Or they look at it and they go, yep, but we'll cover only $400 of that $500 problem. Well, what the damage waiver is all about is creating this sort of financial mechanism where you collect the $1,000 and you decide if there's something that needs to be fixed or not. So again, I don't want to call it self-insurance. It does not necessarily replace insurance. You would want to have some sort of insurance process in place, but it is a good way to protect your assets. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for clearing this. Now, yes, we have sessions for all the remaining questions that you might have. I saw a lot of questions for the experiences. In which area? I love that.
Me too. I started pulling a few out, so I'm ready for you guys.
You're already ready. Perfect.
I am ready.
Go ahead.
I am ready. So I'll go through. Should we do the questions in the Q&A first? Oh, they're already there. Okay.
Exactly, because many are there. So, for example, on this topic, since we're already here, Gemini asked for New South Wales, Australia.
I think New South Wales, we did it, right?
We did that one.
Already did
that
one.
one.
Yeah. My bad.
You're fine.
I think next in line was Tulum.
Yeah, Tulum. Okay.
Tulum.
What do we have in
Tulum?
We've got Chichen Itza, Cenote, and Valladolid tour. We've got Isla Mujeres, luxury catamaran sailings. We've got a lot of hidden cenotes. Explore Fuego with buffet-style dinner and transportation, some ATV tours. I mean, Tulum's a really fun place, so there's a lot of options here. I think whoever had the example in Texas, you threw me a curveball here, but Tulum is an easy one. We've got private transportation to and from the airport, jungle buggy tour from Playa del Carmen. There's a lot of different examples for this. And again, if you have your own activities or your own partners that you are aware of, by all means, this is something. It's not just the things we provide. You can also create your own upsells in your boarding passes. So that was for Tulum. If we're in the topic of locations, I hope you don't mind, Marissa. I'm going to go for Athens here on this one.
Go for it. Let's see.
Let's see what we've got in Athens. So we've got private tours, full day private tours, Acropolis. Museum guided tours, Greek food walking tour. I love Mediterranean food, so I would probably take that one. What else? A Best Athens small group shore excursion from Piraeus Port. Biblical tour letters to the Corinthians, St. Paul's Footsteps, 6 hours. Again, Athens is a fairly easy one. Luxury catamaran cruise from Athens with traditional Greek meal and barbecue. And Hydra, Poros, and Aegina day cruise with lunch. There's so many examples. You guys need to throw me some more curveballs, not the major cities. These ones are easy for us. We need the the more local, really hard to find places. But we'll keep adding them. Specifically, so the next one we have is Saint Croix. Let's see, U.S. Virgin Islands. Live music, sunset tour, parasail experience in St. Croix, snorkeling, sea turtles, historic Christiansted ghost tour. There seems to be a lot of ghost tours. So I hope you guys aren't scared of that. And then also airport transfers, de headpiece and tings. I don't know what that is, but it seems like a cool activity there, and kayak rentals and so on. So again, it's all over the place. We're aggregating from, different platforms that are out there that are able to offer all of these tours and experiences. So we should be able to cover a lot of these different locations.
We have still many coming on for Dominican Republic.
Yeah, well, if I can chime in here, I see some questions. One from SPG Europa. Yeah. Does it work with Airbnb or VRBO? And then I saw another one here. Brian asking, how does it work with OTAs? And so this is the beauty of having Lodgify and Enso integrated, right? So through Lodgify, Enso is seeing all of your bookings from all of your connected OTAs. So as long as you have Vrbo or Airbnb connected to Lodgify, Enso will see that, and they're going to send all this information to that guest through the Lodgify inbox. So this guest is going to get that guidebook, is going to be able to see all the check-in instructions and everything that Francois went through, and all the upsells that you have included there. So there's no blocker or limitation depending on where the booking is coming from.
100%. And to add to that, I saw does it work with Airbnb? We're actually official partners of Airbnb. So we're authorized to be doing these things officially with Airbnb, which is kind of awesome. But yeah, thank you so much, Marissa. What else do we have?
We have, I think, maybe a little question for me. Where are you from in Italy? It's a small town, actually. It's called Fano, Italy. On the right, on the east side, so the Adriatic coast. It's a Roman city, so very old city. And when Francois was speaking about the movie with the Colosseum, I should have known like right away. And for a moment, I was like, "Oh my God, what is he talking about?" So yes.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I was hoping the question from SPG wasn't for me. I know Guelo sounds Italian, but I'm French, so that's for Francesco, not Francois. Awesome. Anything else? More questions?
Yeah, I have one here from Charbel, and she's asking if you guys offer free tickets to events. So it looks like they have a neighboring cabin maybe that are able to offer free tickets to attractions.
Again, you can build your own upsells. So you don't have to use just our system that has these different tours and activities. You can go ahead and create your own upsells. So if you wanted to sell things like these tours, an event that is specific to your location that is not, of course, in our system, you can put it in there, collect the revenue, or offer it for free. I would say upgrade and so on. It's really, think of it as like building your own store of a concierge-like service, while simultaneously dealing with the check-in instruction, the guest verification, the guides about the property. Because at the end of the day, a guest only cares about checking in. So if you send them through all of these different places, they're going to get lost. We really try to make that journey one journey. So guest verification, the check-in experience, upsell, and then, more about the property if they have question, another upsell. We're trying to make sure it's part of the sort of traditional guest journey. So short answer is yes, you can create anything and sell these events that are nearby if you'd like. But we don't have any integrations to local events. That is something I'm going to talk to the engineers about. Yeah. Cool.
Amazing.
Nice. Thank you.
Then I see, do you guys do booking.com? Well, I think we already also mentioned this, right, Francois?
Yeah, that's going to be through the Lodgify integration, right? So you've got Lodgify, I'm going to assume here, but it's kind of obvious the Lodgify does the Airbnb, booking.com and all of that, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to answer a quick question here, how do guests make this reservation through Lodgify and Enso? So the guest is not going through Lodgify. The guest is getting a link to your guidebook. So you create your guidebook with Enso, you personalize it, customize it, and that creates a URL link, and that's what's getting sent to the guest. So the guest, they open it up and they see all your beautiful customized guidebook directly. So the guest is not interacting with Lodgify.
That's right. Reservation comes in from whatever OTA, kicks into Lodgify. We send that link and the message with what we call the boarding pass. And again, think of it like a boarding pass for your flight, but now for your vacation rental. It's everything you need to check in, quite literally, just like on an airplane. But we sell you all of these add-ons and these experiences. We try not to be like EasyJet, right? Where we're adding a seatbelt and a pilot and a parachute and it feels really nickely and dimey. We're trying to create these local crafted experiences that you offer. Yeah.
Nice. I saw a question if it's this webinar is also translated in Spanish. Well, unfortunately, Crowdcast doesn't have this feature yet. I imagine, at least with the technology that we're going. But this recording will be available on YouTube since already tomorrow, I believe. So there are also like free tools that allow you to download the transcript of a YouTube video, and from there you can go about it in Spanish. So yes, this is already answered. Let me see.
I see a subscription cost question. I think I saw this twice. Pricing depends on the number of properties, and we do take obviously a commission on the upsells, but it's paid by the guest. So I think we take 5% paid by the guest, not you. So you sell something for $100, we're going to charge it $105, and then you get your full $100. If you want to learn more about pricing, how much it is, just go on our website, type in your name, your email, and you'll get an email right away automatically with the rate per listing per month. Yeah, so simple as that.
Perfect. And then let's see.
And it's Enso with an S. For some reason, some people think it's with a Z, and other people think my name is Enzo. But no.
It's an Italian name, by the way, Enzo.
I know.
Coming from Vincenzo. It's the abbreviation.
It's supposed to be a symbol of Zen, a Japanese symbol of Zen, a circle that you draw in one uninhibited brushstroke. And we called it Enso Connect because we connect with different partners like Lodgify and so on. So try to make the experience Zen for your guests. That's our mission.
I love the meaning.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have something else.
Question here from Anastasia. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Any bundle strategy, i.e. pack 2 to 3 add-ons in one package with a price reduction, of course, in order to make it more appealing to potential customer? Does it work? 100%. Just like we talked about the popcorn pricing strategy, being able to bundle different things together. Now, it depends what you're going to bundle. Right now, we don't bundle these activities because it's a lot, right? If you're thinking about getting Eiffel Tower tickets and the breakfast and the tour, it might feel overwhelming. Maybe you just want to start with one activity. So we don't currently do the bundles on Enso Experiences, but you, when you create your own upsells, you absolutely can create bundles. That is not an issue at all. It just depends what you have in mind. Where we'll see bundles is usually on something that's a bit more of an operational headache, in my opinion, but can be worth it, is sort of, coffee, food, linens, things that are going to be more for the stay, where you can kind of bundle a package together, almost like a gift basket, if you will, of all the essentials they may need for their stay and more. So yeah, that's a great question there.
Great question indeed. Let's see if we have one left, I think, at the moment. When is the recording available? Well, as we mentioned earlier, it will be available from tomorrow. We will send an email with the recording of this broadcast today. Yeah.
100%. So yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I wish I had a self-serve sign up and that's it and call it a day. We do have a demo process because we want to make sure we're a good fit and that we have all the questions answered for you. So feel free to go to our website, ensoconnect.com, ENSO connect.com, and reach out. We're always happy to have a conversation and share more about these things. So yeah, that's about it on my end.
Amazing. Perfect then. Let's see. Maybe just give it a few seconds to see if we have other questions. Okay.
Yeah, I think we just got one last one in. How
Yeah,
does
it's
the
reading this one.
tickets work? Do we buy them and offer it through the website, especially for local ones?
Yeah. So when it comes to Enso experiences, it's really simple. We have this pool of activities, tours, experiences, and so on. A guest will go through the boarding pass, make their purchase through the boarding pass. If they have any questions, they'll get support information for those experiences directly with the tour provider. And then, or, refund issues or anything like that. All that happens is you will get a commission on the sale of anywhere between 2.5% to 6%. So really simple. Something gets sold for $100 and you just make 2.5 to 6%, depending on what the activity is. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to get in touch with the activity provider or coordinate anything. It's really just passive revenue or passive income, like we talked about.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Cool.
All right, then I think we are perfectly finishing within the hour. So great job, everyone.
love it.
Yes, if we don't have any other questions, I invite you to check, of course, Enso Connect and Lodgify if you're a Lodgify customer, to check the offer that we have with Enso in the marketplace in its card. And if you are an Enso Connect user, to check Lodgify at lodgify.com. And feel free to ask any questions to our support team. We're always happy to assist you with your needs. And once again, thanks a lot, Francois and Marisa, for taking the time today to present this topic. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time as well to join and pose your questions here.
Love it.
Yeah,
Grazie,
thank you.
Francesco. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll see
Thank
you in the next
you.
webinar.
Thanks,
Ciao.
Marissa. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.